Welcome to The Rebel Rebel. It's the podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Michael Dargy. On this episode, I've invited Shylo Victoria of Shylo Victoria Fragrances to talk about what it took to start her own fragrance company. Did it really all start when she was 11 years old and started mixing her own perfumes? And how big a deal is it to be raised by a family of entrepreneurs when it comes to embracing your passions? Not only that, but she'll answer one of the biggest questions I've ever had. What is the difference between perfume and cologne? Come on. Well, we're going to find out. Welcome to The Rebel Rebel. Please welcome to the show, Shylo Victoria from Calgary, Alberta. Shylo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing so good. So we're doing this via Zoom. We're, really perfectly physically distanced. I'm in one part of Calgary. You're in the other part of Calgary.
Yeah.
You are a perfume designer and you hand make your scents, and they're all hand bottled. So this, and that's just me boiling it down into a nutshell, but I've never met anybody in my entire life who does this. I didn't know that was a thing you were allowed to do. Could you tell us a little bit about your brand, which is Shylo Victoria? And sort of, give us sort of what's happening right now. And then I want to go back in time and find out how you got here.
Sure. Sounds good. So I'm a perfume designer from Calgary, Alberta. Everything is, poured by hand. There's no parabens, no phthalates, no animal cruelty. I designed this line because I found it hard to find perfume and cologne that didn't have a bunch of harsh chemicals.
Right.
So I just found that the natural side of things just didn't last long enough for me. And then all the designer perfumes and colognes were just packed full of harsh chemicals, not to mention like all of the animal cruelty that happens. So that's why I implemented my own line. It's like the best, it's in between the best, like it's the best of both worlds. It's kind of in the middle where it's as natural as possible. It doesn't have parabens, phthalates, animal cruelty, but it still has that longevity that you're looking for.
Right. That's amazing. So here's I'm going to start with just my stupid question off the top of my head. What's the difference between perfume and cologne?
Well, typically like perfume and cologne, like people would know it as like a woman's scent and a men's scent. That's not actually the real definition of perfume and cologne. Yeah. So perfume and cologne is actually the strength of like the amount of fragrance that's actually in the product. Oh. So perfume is like one of the strongest dilutions that you can get with the fragrance oil in it. Yeah. But typically like women would wear perfume, like they would know that perfume's typically for women and men usually would go for cologne. Gotcha. But there is such a thing as like men's perfume. It's right. Because it's just a strength, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. So then maybe that wasn't a stupid question. Maybe everybody was wondering that thing and now they know.
Yeah.
So, all right. So obviously the biggest question on my mind right now is how does somebody become a perfume designer? Where does it start? Did you just wake up one day fully formed or did you have a lab? Walk me through this.
Yeah. So it all started a long time ago when I was a little girl. Like I fell in love with perfumes and colognes. I was about 11 and I asked my dad for perfume for Christmas. And he's like, you're 11. Like, I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. He had no idea I would end up doing what I do today. And then one of the first books I asked for as a kid was how to make your own natural products. So, from putting avocado in your hair to making all, I tried putting avocado in my hair. It didn't work out very well, but I didn't even know, like back then, I didn't know what like ripe avocado and non-ripe avocado was. So it really didn't work out.
So did you try the ripe or non-ripe in your hair?
It was way too ripe. Okay. It was like brown.
it was like guacamole.
Really
it's an old guac.
Yeah. So then I got that book. I started making homemade recipes when I was a young adult, like 11, 10, something like that. And then as I got a bit older, I started taking courses on how to make your own natural cleaning products, how to make your own natural lip chaps, how to make your own natural soaps. And then I met somebody there that was a great mentor. And so she taught me so much stuff. And that's where I learned how to make perfume and cologne. And, you know, I've always loved perfume and cologne. Yeah. And so it was like, I knew it. I was like, I have to do this. People kept wanting to buy it. And I was like, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. And that's when I was like, you know what? I want this. Wow. I want to do this. So, yeah.
So that was my next question is like, did you grow up surrounded by accountants and engineers or
all sorts of different people? Like, almost like I can't really think of many people in my family that aren't self-employed entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Like my uncle, he started his own company with building homes.
Yeah.
My dad was a mechanic, had his own shop. Now he's a finishing carpenter. My mom had her own cleaning business.
Wow.
My aunt owned an insurance company. My uncle has a painting company. It just like, it keeps going. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. So
wow,
super lucky.
Yeah. Like deep in your DNA, somehow it's encoded for you just to do your own thing.
I'm lucky too, because I have people I can ask questions to and they aren't afraid of like getting out there and trying stuff and taking the risk because that's how they had to do it. Right.
Yeah. So talk to me about risk. Like how risky a business is this? Like, were you scared when you started? Like,
well, I was just nervous of, you know, people not liking my scent, like not liking what I was doing. But, you know, it didn't stop me because my friends and my family kept telling me like, you have to do this. It is amazing. It smells so good. Like, just do it. Like, you need to do this.
Yeah.
So it was more or less just like being afraid of people not liking it. Right.
Wow. Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, like anybody that starts any business, you get nervous because you're like, what if I put in all this time and money and effort and what if it doesn't work?
Right.
But you can't live on what ifs. Like, what if you make it big? What if you're very successful? Right. Like, what ifs can go either way. So, I mean, and in the end, doing something that you love and something that you're passionate about. Yeah. That's the most important thing. Like, or you can go work for a job you hate. Yeah. And, you know, it's secure, but you're not going to really be happy.
Yeah. You get your happiness in evenings and weekends sometimes if you're not a stress ball. I frequent a shop downtown called Supreme Menswear. It's one of my favorite places to buy stuff. Particularly shoes. I just love their shoes and vests and stuff. And I happened to see that you had a display there, which looks freaking awesome. Like Thanks. It is posh as all get out.
Thanks.
Yeah. So can you talk to me about how you like get into stores? Like, do you just call people up and say, hey, this is what I'm doing? Like, can you walk me through that?
Yeah, well, I'm really, really lucky because quite a few years ago, probably I'm going to say 2 or 3 years ago, I worked for a company called Saber Tech. They're a barter trade exchange. And the owner of that business, like when I applied for the job, he was interested in teaching me and mentoring me. Not the fact that I didn't have any, you know, degree in sales or any schooling in sales. He was like, no, like I want to teach you myself how to do this. And, you know, he taught me how to go into businesses and ask to speak to the owner and, you know, the best way to get people to respond to you. And, and he was an amazing mentor. Like, he paid me to work for him, but I really should have paid him because it was like going to school. Like it was insane.
Oh, yeah, I love people like that. And sorry, what was his name?
His name is Ken Lang. He's an amazing person. So lucky great. He taught me. Wow. Yeah. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's just, I'm still in shock that he, taught me all that and took me under his wing. So.
Oh, that is so great. We need more people like that. And I would imagine that that's something that if you haven't done already, you will be paying that forward.
Yeah. Help other people. Yeah.
Help other people along the way.
Yeah. So now I just go into businesses and, ask to speak to the owners and show them my products and, let them sample it. And he gave me all that confidence to be able to do that. So
that's great. Yeah. Have you found, and I don't know whether this is a pointed question or not, but have you found any difficulty being a woman owning your own business?
No, not really. Like, I mean, it's pretty much the same for anybody that's a business owner, right? Like, it's like a roller coaster. Some days you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm doing so well. Like, I'm going to just kick ass. I'm so excited. And then next thing you know, like the next day you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is so hard. Like, it's like, it's always an emotional roller coaster. Like, when it's good, it's really good. And when it's bad, it's really bad. Like, like you have to motivate yourself. Like, there's no one telling you, like, go to work.
Yeah.
Do this. It's like, you wake up and you're tired. Well, you got to go to work.
Yeah.
And you got to tell yourself to do that.
That's right. What do you have outside of work that keeps you motivated, or at least gets you recharged, or does work recharge you?
You know what? I'm pretty lucky that, because it's my passion and it's something that I love so much that when I'm actually working for my fragrance line, I actually do get recharged from it because, I love what I'm doing and I just want to, like sometimes it keeps me up at night. If I have a really good day getting lots done for my fragrance line, I can't sleep. I'm sitting there all night like, I should do this. I should do this. I should do this. I should do this. I'm like, but you should sleep really, because then you're not going to do any of those things the next day. But
that's right? Awesome. I want to say that on your website, I believe that there's a story where you talk about when you were a little girl mixing different fragrances to make your own scent. Yeah. Which, ties in, or at least for me, ties into you asking for a book again, when you're a young girl saying, I want to learn how to make my own stuff. Like, it seemed to me you just somehow you found that thing that, and you recognized it early, like, and just chased it. I'm just so impressed.
Thanks. I'm super lucky. Now, my mom always collected perfumes, and I would always go into her room and take her perfumes and like spray some on, spray another one on. And then when I got my first job at 14, I was like 13, 14. I just wanted to save my money so I could buy my own perfumes. Yeah. And I started this huge collection of perfumes, and that's what I would do. I would rarely would I wear one. I would mix multiple ones and create my own scent,
Oh, that's wild. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, so, Shylo Victoria is going well, the brand. Mm-hmm. And is it just fragrances right now? Or are you branching out into other things? Like, what does that look like for you?
So I've got my line of 3 men's cologne and 3 women's perfume. I do in the future want to release some new perfumes or colognes, probably cologne first. Yeah. Like in dedication of people that were really important to me. Oh, nice. So like that's something I want to do in the future. And I've also had quite a few large companies ask me to design them their own fragrance. Whoa. So at this point, like I'm really focused on my own line, but it's something that in the future I might do. Wow. So thinking about it.
Yeah. That's high praise.
Thanks.
But it would also be giving something away. But how are you going to navigate that, do you think?
Still in like the planning stages, but basically what I was thinking is like breaking it into like a couple different sections where it's like, okay, so I create you say 3 to 5 scents, you ask them what they're interested in, what scents they like, what scents they don't like, create those scents. And then, when they've chosen what scent they like, then I have to do a bunch of different stuff before they can actually have the fragrance.
Do you have to patent them or like register chemical formula? Like, what does that look like?
Well, it's basically like in the fragrance industry, you basically just don't tell anybody what your like formulation is. Like it's top secret. But yeah, like I would basically have to get a bunch of stuff sent out to the government and get it approved that way.
Wow.
And yeah, then there's like the boxes and the labels and there's so much to it. And I would definitely tell them they have to get their labels printed by print free because I seriously had such a hard time trying to figure out labels. So
and the boxes.
Like, yeah, exactly. So that's like in the contracts, like it has to be printed.
That's awesome. Yeah. We had Mark on the show a while ago from Print 3 talking about his journey. And he had mentioned you as well, as just the type of person he loves to work with when they get to do cool projects, like, short run packaging and labels and stuff like that. 'Cause you're just all in.
Thanks. Yeah. And like that display that you saw at Supreme Menswear, he's helping me create all those. So he's such a creative person. Like, he's not just a printer, he's an artist. And I'm so lucky that you introduced me. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I had such a hard time finding a good one. So
yeah, no, they're good people. And that's what I find, and I talk about this quite a bit on the show, is particularly Calgary is such a big, small town, but everybody seems to know everybody else. But I'm finding that the more people I talk to, it's kind of a big, small world. One person knows another person who knows another person over here. So it's pretty wild. So relationships are so key. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. If you could project yourself, into this uncertain future, where do you think your brand is going to be in the next little bit? Well, I've already started to, I've got my products in Ontario and quite a few places in Alberta, other places as well. But I'd really like to go Canada wide, and then maybe worldwide. I'm not sure, but I really just want to grow and be able to do what I love and, eventually be able to give people jobs and, help them with that as well. And, just be able to travel, and because we always donate 10% of proceeds. Oh yeah. My dream is to be able to go to some third world countries and donate that 10% myself to people that I can really help and really make a difference in their life. And obviously still do some local stuff, help local, causes and stuff like that. But to be able to spread the love in some other places where they don't have government support, they have nothing. If they find a garbage bag that's ripped on the ground, they're like, yes, this is amazing. I'm going to make a roof. It's just, I want to help those people. Oh, that's awesome, Shylo. That's so good. So just so everybody knows, the links for all things Shylo Victoria are going to be in the show notes, but you can go to ShyloVictoria.com, at Shylo Victoria. What a great name too. What the hell? It's kind of like the perfect name for a human and a fragrance. Thank you. What are 5 things that you wish people would know? I wish people were more aware of what is in the products that they're using. Even in the toothpaste that you're using, and everything nowadays that you're using, pretty much it has so many harsh chemicals in it, and those micro beads and stuff. It's just crazy, right? So a lot of those chemicals that they're putting in there are cancer causing agents. So just to be aware of what they're using and you wanted me to list 5 things that I would know? What are 5 things that you wish people would know? And maybe it's how to make a great lasagna. I don't know. I try not to, shape it to be any one particular thing. It's just, sometimes you're walking down the street and be just oh man, I wish people knew blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So what is that for you?
I wish people knew how to take risk and not be there. I guess don't be your worst enemy and, make yourself afraid of change and make yourself afraid of going forward. Like, just do it. Just get out there. Like, if you have an idea, you have a dream, just go do it. Like, follow your dreams, follow your passions. Like, you can sit there and do what if, but like, if you really think about it, like, what is the worst thing that could happen for you going out there and trying? Like, I mean, don't be afraid. Just do it.
Yeah, love it.
That's one of the things. I wish that people just knew how to have music playing everywhere. Like, just have, I love music. So if you could just have it playing in every room and everywhere you go. Yeah. And then I guess if people just dance everywhere, like just everywhere. Like, if there's music playing everywhere, then you better dance everywhere, right? Like, dance into each room and I dance in my car all the time.
Oh, like, yeah, me too.
People laugh at me, but I make them laugh. I make them smile. And that's the other thing. I wish that people just laughed more and smiled more and, and just tried to look at the brighter things and not think about such negative things all the time. Like, because everybody gets down, right? I try to remember my grandma who went through the war and like how so much awful stuff happened to her. Like, just to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not in the middle of a war. I've got a roof. I've got food. I've got yes, now dance. Right? So I don't know.
I love that. The world would be a much more interesting place if we all just danced everywhere.
Yeah. Right. Like flash mobs. Like, sometimes I just want to just start a flash mob, but then I get a little nervous and I don't, but
it's a flash
mob. One day I might.
Flash mob of one.
Yeah.
That's fun too. Right? That's awesome. Do you have anything else for just random things you wish people knew?
Just to follow their dreams, really, and don't be afraid.
Awesome. I love that. I think that's very sage advice and something that I think that we all need more of in our lives is to, be willing to take a little bit of a risk and try something out and follow the things that you're passionate about. And just, I love it. I think it's just a great idea. Do you read books much?
I'm more hands-on. Like, I like to experiment I'm way more hands-on. Like,
So what's your favorite place in the world?
Ooh, that's hard. I love traveling so much. Like, so much. My grandmother was from Poland. So I went to go see my great uncle in Poland, which was more sentimental, right? Like, the food there was so good. Like, fast food doesn't really exist because, like, they call it fast food, but they're like cooking you a fresh meal. Like, it takes a while. So that was really cool. And then, like, Hawaii is beautiful. I love how each island I've been to is so different from the previous one. Thailand is amazing as well. Like, I went to Koh Phi Phi Island and the water is just like, even when you're in the middle of the ocean, it's like turquoise. And the water is like bath water. It's just amazing. And then I could keep going. Like, one more. Peru. I love Peru. Went to Machu Picchu. So that was really cool. And the food there is really good as well. Like, it's not really processed. It's like good home cooked meals, lots of quinoa soups. It was so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Usually I don't go for places that are colder, but the culture in Peru and the culture in Poland were amazing. But I always like a warm, really warm, humid place. I love humidity. People hate it. I love it. I don't know. I love it.
Is your hair naturally curly, or do you curl it?
So if I leave it normally, like if I'm in a humid place, it actually does this really nice wave.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I was looking at your hair and it's a lot like my girlfriend Jennifer's hair, that she's got these big Scottish curls that show up when it's humid.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky. It doesn't go frizzy. It's the best. Like, it just goes all to this nice wave. The key is don't touch it at all, which is great for me because I'm on vacation and I'm going to a beach. So I'm like, just don't touch it.
Yeah.
And you're good.
What's the coolest animal you've ever encountered?
A whale shark.
Really?
And in the Philippines. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was amazing too, because I've gone to quite a few places in Southeast Asia and the animal cruelty is just heartbreaking. Like it's disgusting. It's really upsetting. But in the Philippines, like they were really strict on, you can't even wear sunscreen going into the ocean to swim with the whale sharks. Like it was crazy. Like, they had all these signs up saying like, if you wear sunscreen and you go in the ocean, we'll throw you in jail. Wow. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy.
Yeah. Well, you'll wreck the coral reefs, right? That's the big thing. Man.
So it was amazing. And they're respectful of the whale sharks too. Like you weren't allowed to get close to them or touch them, anything like that. So, I was really afraid at first. And then
they're
as soon as they got in the water,
they're like the size of a bus, right?
Then it calmed down. It was weird. Like these big whale sharks, I was actually more calm swimming with them than when I went, swam with reef sharks. So, but I mean, reef sharks, it's a shark, like it's a full on shark. So that was a bit scary.
I went scuba diving with, some black tips or white tips off of coast of Hawaii. And
oh, wow.
It was amazing. Like that was like highlight of my life. I can't even imagine what a whale shark would be like.
Yeah. See, I don't know if I would go for like full on size sharks like that. Even just little ones gave me so much adrenaline. I was like, oh yeah.
I was super calm. They look like big wet dogs to me. They just, they're kind of like curious and a little derpy.
That's funny.
Yeah, but man, okay.
That's cool. That's so really cool.
What is your guilty pleasure? The thing that you do just for yourself that, maybe you spoil yourself a little.
I'm really not a big shopper. I really just like to dance, honestly. Like I like to dance. I like to socialize with my friends. I like to go out dancing. So that would be, I mean, it's a little hard to do that now in the pandemic, but that's normally like, that's how I would like cut loose or, I like doing that. I also really like doing yoga, which is like the complete opposite, I guess, really.
It's
yoga
very slow dance.
Yeah, right? Exactly. You got the music playing and then you go to the music, just slow.
Yeah. Okay, but then I have to ask, what's your favorite yoga pose?
I like them all, really. Like it just depends. I don't even know.
Okay.
There's not really one. They're all good. They all go together. They all have to go together, right?
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. I remember like doing a yoga class and really liking child's pose because I just couldn't move any further because it's hard. Like yoga's hard. Yeah.
It's funny because you see people doing yoga and you're like, oh, it looks easy. And then you start doing it and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is not easy. So
that happened to me.
I like Baptiste Vinyasa flow. That's the type of yoga I like.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
So, yeah.
There are people in this world, Shylo, that are, maybe they're about to take a big step forward. I was reading, recently that during the pandemic, something like 35,000 businesses have been starting a month in Canada, which is extraordinary. Before then we did, I think on average, it was like 95,000 businesses started in Canada a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. So, for people in that position that are either just about to, or have just started, what advice would you give to them? I call these people rebels in waiting. And maybe they're just waiting for that moment or they're just taking that step off the brink.
Yeah. I mean, just go for it. Like, don't let you psych yourself out. Right. Like, it's true though. Like you are your worst enemy when it comes to that. Cause like you sit in your head and you do all these what ifs. And it's like, unless there's like concrete proof on what you're thinking, like you just need to change your direction of thoughts, right? Like it's just you psyching yourself out. And, you know, like, what if you do good? What if you succeed? What if you like, you know, and you'd be helping our economy as well. And I think just like go for it. Don't even worry about it. And like, even with me, like I was afraid to take out loans, right? Yeah. So I didn't take out loans. I just kept working part-time jobs and saving the money to then work for my fragrance line, to put it into my fragrance line. So like working to work, really, that's what I've done for like a really long time, is like working to work. And, you know, it's tiring and stuff, but it's paid off. And I now, like, you know, I don't have all these loans, all this debt. Like it's, so you don't have to take out these big loans. Like you can start somewhere, start small. Even just like starting to plan something is going in the right direction. Like you don't have to drop everything in a second and dive in. Like you can just start off with just planning and seeing, you know, like figuring out your game plan. Yeah. That's starting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Just start.
Yeah. Just start. Just do it. And like schedule it in. Like, okay, like, you know, like say for instance, you tell yourself you're going to do a certain amount of hours a week, or put it in your calendar. Like, as like a job, like I'm doing this at this time, from this time to this time. That's, you know, it's you going to work. Yeah. And, so that you can, you know, make yourself go. That's the hardest part sometimes.
It's in my calendar. I got to do this.
Yeah. Just like treat it like a job. Like if you didn't show up for that shift, you get fired. To go and do it. Right?
Yeah. Oh, that's been awesome. Shylo, you are so kick-ass. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure too. And remember, check out the show notes. Give me a couple places where people can buy your fragrance in Calgary. I know Supreme Menswear we talked about. Where else can they go?
So there's Ed Williams, located in Dalhousie. They've got the entire line. There's Supreme's Menwear. You can also go to Perfume Gallery, which is in Bankers Hall downtown. We also are in Market Mall. So Market Mall sells only the menswear at Adesso Man, and South Center Mall only sells the menswear at Adesso Man. Stuff downtown for men, they only sell the men's, but there's lots of locations you can go. Awesome. There's even more, just hard to think of all of them.
Well, and I was thinking also that, you know, you're spreading slowly across Canada and hopefully the world. Presumably, can you ship outside of Canada? Yeah. Great.
It's actually easier to ship outside of Canada than it is to ship in Canada.
Welcome to Canada. Weird. So go to ShyloVictoria.com, you know, check the stuff out there, get some fragrance for yourself or a loved one. Again, Shylo, thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can also support the show and help shine a light on more amazing people doing incredible things by donating at therebelrebelpodcast.com. I'm your host, Michael Dargy. Until next time.